good artist copy, genius or great artist steal.
Hi everyone, this is Sasha. A few months ago, I just sold chatnode.ai, my first AI startup, for more than $200,000. So today, I wanted to share with you 5 lessons that I learned along the way. And I think those lessons are super useful, especially for first-time founder. So if you're interested in tech, in AI, and are planning to create a new business, then this is for you.
A quick background on me. It's been basically a decade that I've been from data science to data engineer. A lot focus on, of course, machine learning, AI, and also finance. I've been a CTO of a trading firm in Chicago, United States for more than 5 years. And now let's get into the video. So lesson number 1, copy to win. I always like this maybe quote that you heard before, which is like good artist copy, genius or great artist steal. So for entrepreneurship, it's the same. When you start, you're not going to be good, and for sure, you're not going to be great. So the first step is to copy. That's the easiest way to learn and practice to get good at it. So what I did, and I've seen a lot of other people, first-time entrepreneurs did, was to see what's going on, see other startups that are starting and making some money, and just try to copy it. So let me show you step-by-step how to do that. First thing, let's say, is to go to Twitter. It's a great way where a lot of people are built in public, and so you can see, it's quite trendy to share your MRR, your monthly recurring revenue. So a lot of people are sharing those metrics and sharing what they learn and how they do it. So let's say in my case, I like AI. So I want to search people that focus on AI, and I can just tap AI. And here you're gonna see a lot of, people to follow, posts. So you can search directly for people and latest post. And what I want you to do as a first step is to follow a lot of people that you think are relevant to what you're doing. So they are either building new SaaS in your field. It could be anything, if you're a designer, maybe follow designer, etc. Once you're done that, it's going to take a few days. You try to engage with them. Then you will get a list of a lot of people making business in your area. And the next thing you can do is just search for MR or revenue. And for example, this post, you can see he reached, 500 MR. So what I want you to do is make a list of, let's say, 5 to 10 startups that are making, I would say, at least 1,000 MR and are kind of recent. You don't want like a 5 years old startup, something that happened in the last 6 months at the latest. So you found those people, you found the startup, and then the last step is rank them from the easiest for you to the least, basically based on your skill. So if you think you can replicate this startup very easily or fastest, that's kind of likely you should start with that. And the last one would be based on how you feel passionate about the subject or the idea. So with that, then you're going to have basically your next startup idea. And that's going to be the best way for you to learn the fastest without, I'm seeing so many entrepreneurs just, wasting months to find the right idea. I think it's silly and it's a waste of time, especially as a first-time founder. Okay, now let's go to lesson number 2. And what I can show you is, this is basically what I did 2 years ago with Chatnode. What I found is I found Chatbase that was starting to make, a few thousand a month. And I was like, oh, I learned the skill. I know how to use AI. I know how to do this RAG system. So I think I can build it. And I found also SiteGPT. So I found those 2 very early. They were only like 2 months old. And that's when I decided, okay, let me do it. And it panned out quite well. So try your best and do the same. Okay, lesson number 2. The AI cost. A lot of people will try to discourage you if you want to make a business in AI, because they're going to tell you the AI cost is super high. You're going to have too low margin, it's not like a great business to be in. And I understand the point, but I completely disagree. And let me tell you why in 2 points. First point is you usually by default, I would suggest you to give the best model to your customer. So if GPT-4 is the latest model, just give them that. But the trick is have a pricing based on credit. So if they use GPT-4, let's say they need to use 20 credit, but if they use GPT-3, it's going to be only 1 credit. By doing that, you can control the cost and try to always provide the best value. Second option is to also detach yourself from the cost by asking them to use their own OpenAI key or other, Claude API key, any kind of AI or LLM model. So then you charge like, let's say, a fixed price for your infrastructure server. They pay directly the cost to the AI, to the provider. That's an option. But it's usually more for, techie people, and maybe I would not recommend it too much. The second thing that I wanted to really focus is AI costs decreased so much. In the last 2 years that I was working on chatnode, I'm going to show you, for example, this article. So it's basically when they reduce GPT-3 Turbo input price have now been reduced by 50% and the output price by 25%. So in the 2 years I was running chatnode, a bit less, I think OpenAI decreased their overall cost 3 or 4 times, each time by 50%. So basically, suddenly, as soon as OpenAI was decreasing their cost by 50%, my margin was like increasing crazily. So, and I think this movement is going to continue because like so many billions and hundreds of billions are actually pouring into their infrastructure for those AI models, and they want everyone to use it for everything. The cost is keep decreasing. Another example that for us in chatnode that was very, very important. I was getting scared because we did AppSumo, which is lifetime deal. And we were doing, retrieval augmentation with a vector database that is Pinecone. And basically the cost after a few months was skyrocketed from, $100 a month to $1,000 a month. And I was like, it's not going to be sustainable. But suddenly Pinecone released their new serverless option, and it decreased our cost by, 20x or 40x. So suddenly we went from $1,000 to $70, which is kind of insane. So that's my main point. Don't care too much about people saying AI is too costly. Price will decrease and you can use a credit base. See you in lesson number 3. Lesson number 3, speed over perfection. I'm sure it's common for everyone that you should always, go fast and ship fast and like get the customer feedback right away, iterate. That's true. But I'm talking about something different and something a bit more focused on AI. AI, I don't know if you've seen, but in the last 2 years, it's like every week or every month, at least you have a new big upgrade. So the market basically is moving so fast that you have to be so fast as well. You have no choice. Otherwise, people will just go to your competitor. So one thing that I noticed that was crucial, I think, in any new SaaS business is integration. So let me show you an example. This is SiteGPT. You can see they show like WhatsApp, Zendesk, and they really care about showing that their tool is integrated with everyone. And if I go to Chatbase, it's the same. Notion, Google Drive, WhatsApp again, Slack, Zapier. And Chatnode, of course, the same as well. This is crucial. So it's crucial for 2 reasons. People, let's say they are used to use, Zapier, then they want your tool to make it easy to integrate with Zapier. So you have to have all this integration. The reason is because of AI, more and more people that are not really tech savvy are actually using AI. And so they need this integration to take advantage of it. That's very important. So you have to invest a lot of time and effort to build those integration. The second thing is you need to react quickly to any new market change. So if tomorrow OpenAI released GPT-5, you have to integrate it almost in a day or 2. The last thing I wanted to say is the company that is first to market, in this case, it was chat-based, has a crucial advantage. I didn't realize that before, but first to market is a big, big advantage because it's a network effect and it's a growth effect and it's a compounding effect. So having just a month of advance compared to your competition is huge and it's very hard to catch up. As a first-time founder, you're likely not going to be first to market, but this is something to keep in mind. And this is something to just manage your expectation. It's going to be very hard to become the number one, but there's still enough to make money by being the number 2 or even number 3. Lesson number 4, co-founding is very hard. Having your perfect match with a co-founder, it's super hard. So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, do you actually need a co-founder? I believe that right now, with like a lot of AI tool, no code tool, you might not need a co-founder to get started. And actually, it's a lot of benefit to be solopreneur because you will learn a lot as a first-time founder, and it's going to be much easier to then find potentially the right fit for a co-founder later. So think about that first. Let me share you my story with Chatnode. The main reason that we stopped Chatnode was because of co-founder issue. Let me share with you 4 lessons I learned that hopefully can prevent you the same mistake I did. The first thing is a co-founder is not a friend, and it doesn't have to be. You have to separate those 2 roles very strictly. You don't want to or have to go have a drink or have fun with your co-founder. It's a work relationship and it's very important. So keep that in mind. The second thing, and I think the most important thing, is having value in common. And I'm talking about big value, like if someone really care about how to spend money very, frugally, and the other one is more like a risk taker and want to go all in, it's a big difference on how you treat money, and it's going to create issue in the long run. The second thing is how you want to run your business. Are we okay to run remotely in different time zone? Do you want a big team, a small team? These are questions you want to ask in the beginning. Another one that I think can be very helpful, maybe not mandatory, but very helpful, is let's say you're 2 or 3 co-founder. Even you have the same amount of equity, you want to know who is the leader. And what does that mean? The leader means that he has the last word. If there is an issue, we discuss about it, but he's going to be the decision maker every single time. Unless, everyone agrees that we should change. Because a startup is not a democracy. It doesn't work that way. It's a dictatorship. And it has to be that way to stay fast and move quickly. And it's okay to take wrong decision, but you need to keep going. So keep that in mind. I'm going to share with you in the description this link that I'm showing you right now. It's a Y Combinator, the most famous incubator for startup or accelerator, and they show you 10 questions that you likely want to ask to your potential co-founder before deciding if it's a good match. And I think you should treat that very carefully and do it properly, because if you are able to sit down, have the hard conversation right now of your expectation, of how you're going to split up equity, etc., those questions, it means you're both adult enough to potentially face issue later. If you don't do that, I don't invest a lot in your co-founding team. Okay, the last thing I wanted to share is this agreement. So this is a basic share agreement for a potential company. And you can see it's like almost just 1 page. And, the beginner mistake is I'm going to hire a lawyer and I'm going to check how we're going to set up the company and everything. I don't think that's super useful, especially when you just get started. You don't even know if you're going to have revenue and you're going to make money. I would not waste time on that. It's just silly. But I would spend time to write a 1 page with this template, sharing like who's going to lead, how does it work if someone is full-time, part-time about the equity. And the main important concept is vesting. the normal vesting concept is if you don't stay at least 1 year, you don't get any equity. And it's to avoid that, let's say after 6 months, you work hard, you get some traction, someone decide that you want to leave to build something completely different, you got a better opportunity, a different job, and you already have like 50% of the company and you cannot get rid of it. It's going to be a major issue for you long term. So you want to align interest of people by saying, okay, we commit both, or how many you are, to stay in the company at least 1 year, otherwise, and work on it. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anything. And that's the risk we are both willing to take. That's the first thing. And usually after, from 1 year to 4 year, you get increment of, based on how many months you work for the company, share. So at the end, let's say you were 2, in 4 years, you both have 50%. It's a one-page stuff, so just do it. Okay, see you in the final lesson. Lesson 5, how to sell your business. That's a very interesting question, and I've been through the entire process when I sold Chatnode in June 2024 for more than $200,000. So let me explain to you a few key lessons I learned. First one is why. Why do you want to sell your business? In my case, it was a co-founder issue. It's a common one. A second possibility would be you need a lot of cash, you want to exit, retire, take some vacation. That's another one. Third one that is very common is suddenly lack of motivation, don't feel like you can grow the business, and it's a valid reason to sell because someone else can, put again energy and resource to grow your business. So once you know why you want to sell it, you have to decide when. So what I realized is when it's super important, and a lot of founders don't realize how important is it. First thing is number are king. So you want to really sell when you show growth. So you have to make sure your metrics are right to be able to sell quickly and with a good profit. So for example, just to give you a concrete example, I did everything I could to sell before the summer, because for most B2B SaaS, summer is very hard to grow because most businesses are in holiday and they don't, suddenly search for new SaaS to buy. So you have to sell like not in vacation and try to put all your numbers that show growth. So if you have to put a bit more investment in marketing in the coming months before selling, it's a good idea to do it. Another thing is how. So as you can see here, I'm on acquire.com and I use this website. We went through this and I do recommend it. I think it was great. And the main reason it's great is because when we talk about, hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars, you need lawyer, especially if it's in your first time. You don't want to just, send a DM and say, oh, let me buy that. So you want to have a smooth process where they have, a broker to hold the phone and they have lawyer to make sure everything is right. So I do recommend acquire.com. They also find you a ton of potential buyer because they have more than 500,000 entrepreneurs in their website. So yeah, that's how I was able to do it very quickly. Then I want to tell about to who. I think it's quite important. In our case, we found basically a big AI newsletter that was making a lot of money and wanted to diversify by buying an AI chatbot builder. And because of their own newsletter about AI, they already own the distribution channel to advertise Chatnode. So that was a great match. And that's how we were able to find a buyer. The last point is how much. It's very important because you want to sell fast. You don't want to, put it on acquire.com and wait 6 months with no real traction. So you have to have a fair price. What I recommend is put it between 2 to 5 times your ARR, annual recurring revenue, and more close to 2 to 3 for most of the case. Based, on your market, your margin, then you can increase that. If you do that, you will be able to get, concrete buyer, and you're going to be able to sell quickly at a fair price. I hope you liked the video. If you found it insightful, please give it a like. Also, I'm super curious about any lesson you learned in your entrepreneurial journey. So please share them in the comment section. And if you're interested in AI and investment, please subscribe to this channel. See you in the next one.